Hi everyone, my name is Will Helworth. I'm the game director of Homeward. Up here today with me is our resident e-athlete, Isaac Lord Simon Steele. He will be piloting today. And also...
And I'm Fritzy Mercado, and I'm the character animator and concept artist.
So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Homeward before we go into it. As you can see in silhouette here, the game stars two characters, Milo and Daisy. It's a platformer with a twist that you'll see soon, but Milo is the main platforming element of it, and Daisy is a sort of puzzle and spatially oriented element. Homeward was originally designed kind of as a game for us when we were 12, but the target demographic is kids 10 to 14, and also college students. There's a bit of a darker twist in it. We'll let you discover that for yourself. Finally, Homeward is on PC and with Gamepad, built with Unity, and without further ado, let's take a look at the intro animatic. So as you can see here, we got these little speech bubbles come up, and all Milo can think about is food, but Daisy's looking for a battery. Their main goal is, of course, to get home. And the way that they do this is by searching for different energy sources and trying to warp home, but every time it seems to be missing. I wanted to talk about this speech bubble system just for a second. It's basically our main way of conveying narrative to the player, and it's using it without text. And that's because part of our sort of goal with Homeward is to have a game that's accessible for everyone, not just kids who haven't learned to read yet, but people in different countries and of any language. So here you can see also that we're using these funky gravity fields rather than having the traditional horizon of a 2D platformer. And while this has been something that's been done before with multiple gravity sources, our focus is really on rapidly switching between them and having a good time, and it's all modeled off of sped up astronomical physics. So you're using gravity slingshots and stuff like that NASA uses to get spaceships around. So here you can see he's got his normal jump, like a regular platformer, which is getting him between planets now, but we want to have basically a really good exploration feeling, and sort of when you're ready to take the plunge into space and hit another planet, we've got a different jump, which is our rocket jump. So this goes much higher, but can't go quite as far vertically or in the horizontal direction for Milo, and this is will get him in trouble. There's no death state here that's like a pit of spikes or a hole in the ground. Instead, the death state for the player, or the respawn state, is flying off into space. If you go too far with this charge jump, Daisy's got to save your butt. So Daisy's other function is as a scout. She can control the camera separately, and a lot of the times when the player doesn't know where to go, they can find stuff like this and even discover hidden locations, which we've got unique art, unique features, and a little bit of a twist on the content to reward the player, and first and foremost encourage curiosity and exploration. This is a game for kids, and that's absolutely what we want to be teaching them. So the tutorial level, let's see if we can get to the hidden planet even. You'll notice a couple of these birds that are flying around. Fritzy will talk about them more later, but one of the ways we keep the game sort of interesting, and one of the main features of it is the different animals that Milo meets along the way. Finally, Daisy can interact with ancient technology, like this little weird bone thing here. These planets are all built around these ancient machines that everyone's kind of forgotten about, but Daisy can still use them, and that's why Milo can get places that no one else can. And that's kind of the key to the exploration here as well. Right now we're using this just as simple gating, but as you'll see in some of the later levels, and if you come play our build, it allows the player to rearrange the environment and access different areas and kind of challenge them with a puzzle. So there's Milo's home. He's always trying to find it. But this kid, all he's thinking about is the shooting star, which is Milo's ship crashing, which is now a bunch of trash. These speech bubbles also give us little hints into where the player should be going and what's coming up. So we see that there is a battery in the system somewhere for Daisy to warp home, and they might just be able to make it. Awesome. That rounds out pretty much the end of the tutorial. If you want to see the actual end of it, come drop by. But here's the water planets, which is the first level, the level right after the tutorial for this. And I wanted to talk about the narrative of Homeward here. So it starts out pretty unassuming, as you can tell from the theme already. It's very childish and colorful and sort of fun. And the water planets, we want to reinforce that, but not because that's the tone of the entire game, but we kind of want to lull the player into a false sense of security. It gets a bit darker as Milo has to grow up and deal with the consequences of his world that is somewhat missing. So here you can see part of our art style. We tried to keep it in a cartoony, simple to recognize style, but fantastical enough that we had the license to do these things, like planets that were just made out of water and ships, and have the player believe in it and kind of understand it. Here are some more of the Water Tribe NPCs who live here. So we got the birds, but there's one unique NPC in this section. That's where he lives. But he's not quite around yet. And so he will represent, aside from the art style, the mechanical theme of the water planets. And what we've done for Demo Day is sort of built a best of Homeward, where we have 5 of our distinctly themed levels that we wanted to include in a much larger, almost Zelda-scoped game, but our professor said no to that. So we kind of included exactly what we thought the best thematic elements and the best parts that we wanted to show and kind of expand on in a final version. There he is. So in this round, or in this level, Milo's main wave mechanic is by getting eaten by this big space whale. This allows him to access different places and get around the level quickly because it's a fairly large exploration. And if you want to see the rest of that, definitely stop by. So here we have the heat planets, and I'll give that to Fritzy to take it away.
All right. So as Will mentioned, there's these little fat birds, and they do more than just fly around and look cute and fudgy. So they actually fly around in the direction that the player should go. So in case you are lost, the bird can be an indication of the correct direction that you should be going. Cool. And as the heat planet name suggests, there is some heat, and this little NPC here is worried about burning. So this sort of helps, it helps suggest that there's something wrong with the world. It's not all the fun and happiness of the water planets. So if Milo goes into the sunlight, he actually takes damage, and if he takes too much damage, he will have to restart. So there's no death penalty in Homeward other than just respawning from the last safe spot. But it does give the player a sense of urgency and a sense of danger, and it does help ramp up the difficulty. All right, and we have this one rodent, and it's one of our interactable NPCs, and Milo can actually pick up this rodent and use it to solve some simple puzzles. So if he puts it down, it will go bite the rope, and it opens up another area for him to explore. And with that, we'll go ahead and go on to our dragon village. So as the name suggests, the dragon village involves dragons, and these people worship the dragons, and they're not all too happy about Milo being here, so they fling him away. They'd rather him just go float away in space. And it does suggest that they're not trusting, they're very suspicious of him, they don't think he's safe to be around. However, if he finds the baby dragon, they revere these dragons, so if the baby dragon is around, they will not attack Milo. And the baby dragon moves around using our NPC pathfinding system. So you can follow a bunch of path nodes, which are the torches that Milo is lighting up. And in contrast to the adults who are suspicious of Milo and they don't want him around, there are these little children. They're just excited to see him. They're not they're not suspicious of him. They just really love him and the dragon that he brings by. And they're just one of the many NPCs that we have in Homeward. And with that, I'll go and give it back to Will.
So you've seen a little bit of our game from these levels, but there's a couple more, including the dark ending, that we'd love to have you check out. Unfortunately, we don't have time for. But I'd just like to give a shout out right now to our professors and our team. Thank you for an absolutely amazing year. It was a complete journey. And to our advisor, Richard Lamarchand, who I hope is here, and everyone who worked on it, don't come up here and hassle everyone, but please stand up and wave and say proudly, hey, I totally worked on Homeward, and it was amazing. Thank you all very much, and we look forward to seeing you guys and the rest of these presentations very soon.